My name is Germana Ravanelli. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a mind body healer, a personal trainer, nutritional therapist. I was taught that health is harmonizing the body, the mind, and the spirit. Hello. Thank you for opening up this video. This video is dedicated to people who would like relief from hip and back pain, particularly people that are sedentary, meaning they don't do a lot of physical training, or they may do a lot of training and don't know why they have a mysterious back, leg, hip problem that doesn't seem to go away. My background in the fitness industry is extensive. I've been working in this industry, believe it or not, for 40 years, which is a long time. And I have had a number of significant accidents in my life, way too many car accidents. And what people don't understand is when you've had a fall, or you've been hit in a car, or you've been punched, or you've been hurt somehow, there's something called, the disc in this, it's a shock absorber. So here's a lumbar spine section. The discs are actually shock absorbers, and they take the load. And also with time they tear. So if you've been in a really bad car accident, or you've fallen off a ladder, or you've also, say you've been punched or kicked or hurt quite badly, say you practice martial arts, you take a little tear, and then sometimes if there's a bigger hit later, or time goes by and you think everything's fine, and all of a sudden you have this bizarre pain, and you're like, why does my left leg not work properly, or why do I have nerve pain in my fingers? Believe it or not, it's usually overlooked. It's usually in the spine, and these discs are called shock absorbers. I'm going to show you. This is a really great model. You see there's a little bit of red there. I'm going to turn that correctly. And so when the spine is loaded too heavy, and we can take less units of pressure when we get older, the gel in the actual disc migrates out. I'm going to pull that. That's just a nerve that would be feeding the leg. So you'll see it'll push down. And I'm doing my best to push that out. Not that strong anymore. And what happens is when you get a few of those in a row, the nerve that's supposed to feed the muscle or the organ it's interrupted. So then the muscle that's supposed to get the innervation doesn't get it. And then the person will usually suffer. And I've been that person. I was misdiagnosed for quite a while, a long time ago. And I was misdiagnosed by people far better educated than I. And they were looking at the big muscles. They weren't looking at what's stabilizing the system, which is your vertebra and your discs. And if you have disc damage, they don't check you. You have to actually have a standing vertical x-ray for them to check your disc to see if your disc is compressed. When you wake up, you're taller in the day because they're filled with that gel, and then during the day they get shorter and shorter and shorter. And if you think about loading the spine, if you load the spine incorrectly, I'm going to do this again, see how good I am at it. I'm going to push. You'll see the gel come out, right? If you load the spine incorrectly all the time, then it just sits there, and then the person has compression and they've got a lot of pain. The medical community, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's more disease care than health care. And so it's up to us to go, what do I need? What's missing? And so I took training from this man, Dr. Stuart McGill, and he is known as the Back Pro, the Back Fit Pro, I believe is his website. And his work saved my life, my business life. I sold my commercial business, came home, I couldn't walk properly. I would get up and fall into walls and stuff because my leg would buckle because of the level of damage to my discs and my back. The 2 in my low back are fried. The 3 in my neck are fried. I do live with a spinal cord injury, which is one of the reasons I'm really committed to being active and fit so that I can live a high quality life. So if you suffer, if you follow these exercises, do so at your own risk. Never do it if there's pain. Discomfort's one thing, pain, no pain. If you do it well and say you do 3 sets or 2 sets a day, it could reduce your pain. The other pieces to keep in mind is that you need to be aware of how you stand and how you carry your body. A lot of people, and particularly now with the internet and the phones, we're always like this. And when you're doing that fold, you're crushing the discs. So prevention is the number one key. And I'm going to share some of these exercises with you. And this is not a substitute for one-on-one, but this is a way for you to say maybe there's hope. And you don't want to be, drugged. You don't want to lose your muscle, because when you stop moving, you lose your muscle. And your muscle is the organ of longevity. It is the future for you and your quality of life. If you can't walk properly, if you can't pick things up, your life is basically screwed. And I was in that position. So I'm downstairs in my studio. This is a bench that is off the floor. So for clients that come that can't actually get down on the floor, most people that have been hurt can't. So this is bringing the floor to them. So I'm going to share these exercises with you, and I'm going to walk through them. And the beauty of Dr. Stuart McGill's work is specifically that you're only loading half of the spine at a time. Most, like this type of exercise, is loading the whole spine. Often for some people it's too much. So then he created exercises where he put a wire in and measured the units of pressure on the muscles and how they would compress on the disc, so that they were not creating too much pressure. It's called a spine sparing exercise, which means it doesn't overload an already damaged spine. Anyone over 35 has a damaged spine just from age. So I'm going to walk you through these, and I hope that this brings you some hope. And if you need some more, specific information, feel invited to reach out. So the thing is you can't do this in a fetal position. You have to think about, what does the spine need to be like when you're walking? So that means the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and the ear all line up. This shoulder blade gets pulled backwards, and then you just softly push away from the floor. This is called a side bridge. The best thing that you could ever do here is just softly breathe. Ideally, you'll hold this for 30 seconds, and you would come down softly, then 20 seconds, down softly, then 15 seconds, and you'd flip. And you would do it again and again. So that you would not do this on a bed, because a bed is too soft, it's too spongy. And if you touch the top of the body, it is spongy like a marshmallow, and the bottom is very firm, because only half of the spine is being used right now. So I'm going to turn this off, saying that was 30 seconds. To come down, you shift your bum back and you wait till you're ready. Then you do another layer, 20 seconds. So this is excellent. It trains the abdominals and the back, your pelvic floor on one side. So 1, 2, 3, I'm pushing my hips forward as if I'm standing up in a chair, which is real life. Most people, they still kind of swing back. They'll be like this, and that's dysfunctional. You want the movement to train your tissue to be strong at the angle of being vertical, and then learning how to move without buckling your back. Release, that's 20 seconds. We're going to do one more here for 15. 1, 2, 3. And again, I am not collapsing here going, my shoulder hurts. I'm stacking it. The elbow is right underneath the shoulder. I'm pulling the shoulder blade to my bum. I'm lifting the hips, and I'm pushing my pelvis forward. That's the key, because now I'm training this whole quadrant to have muscle connection, stability, and capacity to train and carry me properly. Release. That's your timer. I'm going to go to the other side. So Dr. Stuart McGill calls this the $1 million exercise, because it's worth $1 million if you do it regularly. So again, elbow, shoulder, shoulder blade. 1, 2, 3, I'm going to come up. I'm going to pull the shoulder blade to my bum, and I'm going to feel these muscles fire. We're going to stay here for 30 seconds. My suggestion for you is, if you decide to do this, again, at your own risk, you should be fine. If you can't do it here, you do it on the wall, elbow against the wall, and you lean into it. Some people are too frail here still, which is fine. There's a progression for everything. Gently release. But you would do these, I'm sitting backwards into an imaginary chair. I'm not going thunk. 1, 2, 3, up, pelvis forward. You would do, this is considered one set. We did 30, 20, 15. This is the other side of that set, 20 or 30, 20, 15. I'm a little bit excited. That's called one set. If you can, you do 2 to 3 sets a day, and you take at least, release. You take at least, I'm sitting backwards again, just pay attention to that. 1, 2, 3, up. So I'm training the abdominals, half of the abdominal cavity, so I'm not compressing the disc. Half of the back quadrant, not compressing the disc. This is spine sparing. And these are your get out of jail exercises. Release. So that is called a side bridge. Now I'm going to show you something that we've all seen. Lots of these. These are called hip bridges. And this mimics squatting. A lot of people are too, if they got knee problems, hip problems, their squatting is scary and they're collapsing. One of the problems that causes a back to have problems is people walk with their legs really close together, or they stand with their legs really close together and it collapses the spine. So you want to think wide, like a wide tree trunk, and so then loading the feet, gently lifting up, 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 spinning the sitting bones up, pretending there's a band on the legs, pushing into that imaginary band. And now, if possible, pretending you're on skates and you're pushing down through your toes and you just stay there. So again, this is a spine-sparing, foundation-building exercise. And for people that suffer, I have a number of friends that I watch that I just go, and they tell me all these stories about why this and why that. And I'm like, you have lost your muscle. You're in your 50s. You're at risk. And if you don't rebuild your muscle, then you become the new tragedy. Gently release. Now, I'm going to keep the pressure on that imaginary band. I'm going to tag the bum down and come up and hold. 1, 2, 3. Keep pushing down and up. The hips do not swing. They swing because there's a maladaptive movement pattern. So this isn't going to be perfect for anybody, but you're gently coming down, 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 pushing up, 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 and you're spinning your tailbone up a little bit. So you're not crushing your back by, how does it go? People crush, they just push. You want to spin the tailbone up like a wheel. It'll lengthen the low back and you drop down and up. And you might do 15 to 20 reps. Boom. So this is your glutes. That's what stabilizes your spine, is your bum, believe it or not. Half of your spine on one side, half of your tummy on the other. And then you might rest and then go back to the side bridge. So these are 2 exercises and they're excellent. There's a number more that I can add, but my concern is if I put too much in, it's too much. So if I give you enough, you might go perfect. But I'll give you one that's really lovely. It's called the bird dog. Your hands need to be shoulder width apart. Your knees need to be shoulder width apart. And you start with what's called as the cat camel. We all see this in yoga. So breathing in, up, up, up. Breathing out. You do 3 or 4 of these to create what's called as viscosity in the spine and in the discs. So if there is a lot of, damage in those discs, this helps to sort of create more of a neutral base. And you only do it the first time that you do this. Like, you don't do it each time you come back to this movement. So we're rolling the spine, pushing the dead air out, breathing in, filling the body, and then you're going to find what's called as neutral. Neutral means that your pelvis doesn't move. You pull your hands energetically, it's called an isometric, towards your body, so your tummy fires. You push your legs externally as if you were doing downhill skiing and you're trying to slow down. So this is a very beginner base. You just take your right hand off the floor and you hold. 1, 2, 3. So just the hand. And you keep all the actions in your body and nothing moves besides your arm. Come again. So gently down, gently up. 2, 2, 3. So this is called half a bird dog. The whole time I'm pushing my legs away from each other and the hand that's on the floor is being pulled to my knees. 1 more per side, and then we're going to do the leg. And you can hold it as long as you like. What happens is the whole core has to turn on. So now pushing out, hands pulled to the knees. See if you can lift one leg without your pelvis moving or rocking. We'll do 4 on that leg. Up again. So we'll usually put a ball on the back here so that if the ball moves, then you know there's compensation, which is very normal. But you're learning a new movement pattern. And you're learning how to stabilize your spine when your leg and your arm is moving, which is something other side that we do when we're walking. One of the biggest problems is people don't know where their head is in space anymore. And so what that means, 1 more, is often, and your head weighs as much as a bowling ball. We're going to take that down. We're going to take that down. We're going to flip now. If your head weighs as much as a bowling ball and you have it forward a tiny bit, the stress is going to go all the way down the chain of your back. And eventually you're going to have a deformed body, which is really common. So one of the ways to, again, let your body recover, arms and legs, you let everything hang and just go soft. So what that does is it allows, if any of your discs that have had some migrating fluid have begun to push out, it can take the stress off. So one of the nicest things to do is just lay down 2 to 3 minutes and let your belly rise and fall like a Buddha. And these are the babies, these are the beginning exercises, and they're enough. So I created 3 here for you. And again, what this does is it takes all of the spine like a string of pearls, and it opens it up. And when we're sitting, it closes it down. When we're leaning forward, now you're compressing against that poor disc that might be torn. One of the ways to get up is tucking and then rolling and then slowly coming up. So this man's work actually is what saved my fitness career. I had a background with many car accidents, and I did a lot of martial arts. You take a lot of hits, and it didn't show up until I hit, I think, early 40s. Then stuff started to go weird. My left leg would buckle. I'd get bursitis, diagnosis for bursitis, and given all this medication for bursitis and physio. I spent $11,000 out of my own pocket trying to get my body to work. And I was misdiagnosed. And someone said, 2 different doctors, the man that created this said, you should see Dr. Stuart McGill, and another doctor in town who I love said, you should see Dr. Stuart McGill. And it just so happened that he was coming into Vancouver in a week, and he would allow personal trainers to come in. He only teaches like OTs, chiropractors, doctors, occupational therapists, and physios if they're interested as an alternative form of education. And I flew in and I ran up the hill, and this is really bad, it's funny, but I have a martial art background, so he uses martial art principles a lot because it's efficiency, it's stiffness, it's stiff, turning on the muscle, turning off, on and off. So I crawl in, I get in there, I get my book, I'm there, and I sit next to an OT, and he's going, never do this with a TFB, and always do this with a TFB, and he's going on. And one of the things you never do is you don't teach them crunches with their head forward, and you don't load weights on both sides, that you don't do leg presses, you don't do leg extensions on a machine if you have a TFB, and you train the butt really strongly, which is what this bridge was all about. And I looked at this OT and I said, I don't know the clinical terminology for TFB. And she goes, oh, a totally effed up back. And I laughed. I thought, I'm in the right place. So that saved my business. I actually had sold my commercial training business because I couldn't pick up a weight and hand it to my client anymore. And I was devastated. And I also needed to learn what to stop doing and what to start doing. And I had to stop doing some of the yoga that I loved. And I needed to stop thinking it was bursitis. I was so frustrated. I actually had to pay to have standing x-rays so that, if the load of my head and my spine was too much for my discs, then those discs would show short with the x-ray. And I remember bringing them into my doctor, and he goes, you're just taking this very seriously. And I thought, well, this is my life. If I can't work, I'm done. I can't pay my bills. And he was just kind of blasé about it. And, eventually he did, retire, and he needed to, because he had lost his capacity to hear the client, meaning me. I was the client. And because I'm fit, I get overlooked. But I had some serious problems. My left leg, my toes would go numb. And that is disc. You can also have stuff with your hand. It's usually, this is just a referral of pain. It's not the problem. It's somewhere through here. So thank you if you watch this. Thank you if you use this. Thank you if you leave a comment. There's a lot of exercises that you can do that are spine sparing, but the whole idea is you only train half of the spine at the time. You don't do both. So you do one leg at a time when you're vertical and things like that. And it has, you know, it obviously saved my ability to provide a service and also helped me to help other people. And please feel invited to leave a comment if it helped you. Did you do the exercises? Were they easy? Were they hard? The side one, again, if you can't do it laying down, you can actually just put your elbow on the wall and cross your legs, top leg forward, and lean into the wall and hold for 30 seconds, and then 20, and then 15. And it's all about creating muscle tension so that you think about your spine is like the mast on a boat. It has to, and all of the ropes that pull down for the sails, right? The muscles are your sails. And if we lose those muscles, and we do with age, it's deadly, make no mistake, then we are food for therapy land, medication, not moving properly. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to resign to that. You can take your power back and have a really, you know, comfortable and effective and enjoyable life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing if you do. Have a wonderful day.